Hate speech and hate crime have increased massively in Europe and have become a particularly worrying phenomenon, offline and online. The EU Commission therefore presented an initiative on Thursday aimed at adding hate speech and hate crime to the list of EU criminal offences. There is currently no legal basis that would allow hate speech and hate crime to be criminalized at EU level. The existing list of EU criminal offences contained in the Treaty on the Functioning of the European Union, the TFEU, needs to be expanded to ensure that there are common minimum rules for defining criminal offences and penalties, which are common to all EU member states and apply everywhere. This initiative is the first step in expanding the list of EU criminal offences. The next step would then be for the member states to approve the initiative before the Commission can present a legislative proposal. Commission Vice President Vera Jourova, responsible for values and transparency, said about this, "There is no place for hatred in Europe. It contradicts our core values and our principles. We need to act at EU level to ensure that hatred is criminalized in the same way across Europe." And EU Justice Commissioner Didier Reynders said, "We need a firm response to the challenges posed by hate speech and hate crime across the EU, now and in the future." This initiative is an important step towards a more effective European response to such threats to pluralism and inclusivity. We will not allow our democracies to be weakened by such phenomena. Well, the external study published on Thursday confirms the extent and worrying development of hate speech and hate crime. During the pandemic, the level of hatred expressed against, for example, Roma, Jews, Muslims, and people of Asian origin, or perceived as such, has increased, including racist attacks and beatings, bullying, using violence, threats, and racist attacks and insults increased. The sources suggest that 52% of young women and girls have been victims of online violence, including threats and sexual harassment, and that people with disabilities are at greater risk of being victims of and harassment of violent crimes, including hate crimes. Hate speech and hate crime are incompatible with the fundamental European values enshrined in Article 2 of the EU Treaty. According to Article 83 of the Treaty on the Functioning of the European Union, the European Parliament and the Council can lay down minimum rules for defining offences and penalties in areas of particularly serious crime with a cross-border dimension. These areas include, for example, terrorism, human trafficking, and the sexual exploitation of women and children. Depending on how crime develops, the Council can adopt a decision defining other areas of crime so that the Commission can, in a second step, propose a solid framework for combating hate speech and hate crime at EU level. At EU level, the Council framework decision on combating certain forms and expressions of racism and xenophobia through criminal law already provides a framework for a strong joint response to racist and xenophobic agitation and hate crime. The framework decision aims to ensure that serious forms of racism and xenophobia are punished with effective, proportionate, and dissuasive criminal sanctions across the EU. It obliges the member states to hate incitement, that means to criminalize public incitement to violence or hatred on grounds of race, skin color, religion, descent, or national or ethnic origin. In addition, for offences other than hate speech, member states must ensure that such racist and xenophobic motives are seen as an aggravating factor, or that these motives can be taken into account in determining the penalties. The Commission supports the efforts of the member states to implement the framework decision effectively through the work of the high-level group on combating racism, xenophobia, and other forms of intolerance. And I'll see you in my next video. Bis gleich.